Good evening. I'm Christopher Sullivan-Diaz, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Let's get right into it. With the University of Nebraska Athletic Department announced today the addition of women's flag football as a women's intercollegiate varsity sport. The announcement coincides with the NCAA's approval of women's flag football as an NCAA emerging sport for women. Nebraska head football coach Matt Rhule announced today the hiring of Corey Brown and Miles Taylor to the Husker coaching staff. Brown will serve as the Huskers' defensive line coach, while Taylor will tutor the safety position. Brown comes to Nebraska with 20 years of experience as a defensive assistant, including 18 seasons as a defensive line coach. He has spent the past 3 seasons as the defensive line coach at Miami, Ohio. Our sports ticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, disciplined process, the retirement compass. Visit StonebridgeIWM.com. Hour 1 of Sports Nightly is up next right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Dribbles left-handed dribble. Climbing up underneath him is Wilkerson. He drives to the right side, rubs a man off, over to Mass, puts up the 3. Got it! Holy cow! Mass puts it up and in. Nebraska's up by 9. Rico, free throw up, and it's no good. And the rebound to Sanford, and the Huskers are going to win this one. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Sanford's not going to be fouled, and it is over. It is over. Nebraska on the road goes 16-0. 5-0 in the conference, knocking off Indiana 83-77. Basketball School 83. Football School 77. Renamed the movie. It ain't the Hoosiers, it's the Huskers.
Rebound, Caffey comes up the floor with 4, with 3, with 2, drives, kicks underneath, so Gooman puts it up, blocked! Emphatically blocked by Petrie to end the game, and that is a Nebraska winner. Jessica Petrie with a big-time block to end this game.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey everybody, happy Friday to you. We've got a big 2 hours coming up for you here tonight. Kyle had a chance to chat with head coach Matt Rhule for a lengthy conversation, and we'll bring that to you here in just a few minutes. We're also going to hear from the head coach Justin St. Clair coming up in hour number 2 as Nebraska track and field is underway this weekend as their spring season or indoor season continues here this weekend. So lots to get to here today. We'll get right to it. Big news coming out this afternoon. We knew it was coming, but it's great that it's official, that we can talk about it. But how about the 25th sport, another women's sport being added here at Nebraska, and it's women's flag football, a hugely popular, up and growing sport at all levels, but the NCAA announcing that it's going to be a NCAA sanctioned sport. Nebraska is the first Power 4 school to announce it as an addition to as a sport. The inaugural season coming up in 2028. The season will be January through May, but it's going to be fun to watch this process unfold. I'm so fired up. It's just what a great opportunity, and this is just, LA is going to have flag football coming up in the Summer of Olympics in 2028, making its debut. It's just so awesome that, again, Nebraska continues to be at the forefront of women's sports and providing these kinds of opportunities.
Somebody call up Damon Benning, because we got to get the crew together starting in January.
You won't go through a depression without football, because we can go right from playing in a bowl game to covering another football season.
Season runs from January to May.
Yeah.
So I say we get the band together. Josh, we get the whole crew here in studio. We get Coatney to do some studio updates, and we get out there and we start calling some of these games. Awesome. This is a really big move that I think we'll see other schools, especially at the power conference level, start to invest in flag football specifically. The NCAA has come out and said that women's flag football is certainly an emerging sport, and Nebraska doing this, being the pioneer for this sport is certainly huge. Nebraska is a football state. It's a volleyball state, but I think first and foremost, it's a football state, and it's also the inclusion of women in sports, and specifically football, I think is the significant thing here. I mean, Coach Rhule, he's been a big champion for this, especially with his daughters and his love of football. So, he's fired. I had a chance to mention this to him and get his thoughts about it. He's fired up for this. Troy Dannon's fired up about this. The next step now for Troy and the administration is to go out and find a coach and then field a roster of about 15 players and get ready to go for the first varsity season, which will be spring of 2028.
Kyle, it was so cool. So they started the women's or the girls camp. They big on camps, right? I mean, it is just, it's rocking here on campus during the summer with lots of different camps. But that when they added that girls camp, to see the numbers from the first year to last year, I walked down there it was so cool. There were so many. Don't tell me that there aren't girls interested in playing this sport, because you could just go out there to that camp and see how many young girls are interested in potentially playing flag football. And listen, you hit the nail on the head. And it's one of the reasons why I love being here, love working for this university so much, is the fan base, this athletics department, they care about women's sports. They do. They support it. Look at the attendance records. There's a reason why they continue to be one of the best in the country in terms of overall attendance and across all of their women's sports. There's a reason why they continue to break records in attendance. But then they also love football. So you combine the two, there's no doubt in my mind that it's going to be supported and successful here at Nebraska.
And how many of those young girls that were at those camps will eventually be playing in a Nebraska uniform? Probably a lot of them. There's a good chance a lot of them.
And we talked to some of those kids that are from the state of Nebraska, boys that, hey, grew up coming to camps here and then make their dream come true. Now that opportunity is there for these young girls.
And they'll have world-class like if you come here to play flag football, you are going to be a Nebraska student athlete. You're going to have an opportunity to, I always mention the training table, but you're going to have everything from nutrition to sports science, everything at your disposal to be the best. There's no reason Nebraska will not be the best of the best at this.
You're playing the Kyle Crooks drinking game on the training table drops. There it is tonight.
Hold on.
Take it a sip.
But no, back, Josh.
It just, the announcement's here. It's been in the works, obviously, for a while. We're going to continue to have more information on this coming up in the next week, because Troy Dannon is scheduled to make his appearance here on Sports Nightly next week. We're also going to have some folks that are involved from the NFL level that we'll be able to chat with. So we'll have more information on that. But did want to start off the show with that, because I am just so fired up about this. I think it's just awesome. What a cool opportunity. And we'll know more and more information, because as Kyle mentioned, got to hire a head coach. Then the student athletes are actually going to bring some in that will officially be student athletes in the fall of 2026. And so it takes a minute, right, to get a sport in place. You don't just announce it and then it goes. It's a process. So we'll continue to bring that information to you, but excited to actually announce the breaking news here this afternoon and talk about it a little bit here to start the show. But let's go ahead and get to our first break, so we have plenty of time to hear from the head coach, Matt Rhule. Lots to dive into here with Coach Rhule, lots of news to hear from him about. So we're going to bring that conversation next here on Sports Nightly.
Spotting the perfect fit is kind of your thing. So when it comes to finding a used car, start your search at FordBlueAdvantage.com and find the perfect certified pre-owned vehicle at your local Ford dealer. One that comes with serious perks, like a thorough inspection, a Ford-backed warranty, even a Carfax report. Because you know what they say, the best finds are the ones that feel made for you. Ford Blue Advantage. Used car buying that's built for you. Available at participating dealers only. See your dealer for details and limitations.
Husker fans, if you're looking for a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding and provides flexibility, your local insurance agency is hiring. No matter your skills or interests, there are opportunities for you in the insurance industry. Explore the many ways you can use your skills to protect your community by checking out the IIAN job board. Find your calling and be a part of an industry that makes a difference. Go to iian.org/careers today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Dear weekend, Toyota trucks are raring to go. Gearing up for fall, Tundra is all in for hauling. Campers, ATVs, you know Tundra's got the muscle to move it. Going off the beaten path? Tacoma says, let's do this. With handling that tackles tough trails and the backbone to take you where the pavement can't. Both trucks pack sweet tech, posh cabins, and Toyota's legendary reliability. So whether it's a fishing trip at dawn, tailgate at noon, or a remote sunset at, well, sunset, these trucks are built to make every weekend epic. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, Baxter Toyota of Lincoln, Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, or Village Point Toyota of Omaha.
There is no place like Nebraska, and there's no peace of mind like knowing you have a dedicated team of technology experts working for your business around the clock. Hey Lincoln, I'm Ed Knott, president of tech company Applied Connective. It's a privilege to serve our great state for nearly 2 decades now with managed IT, cybersecurity, phone systems, physical security, and audio-video solutions. Our team understands the importance of fitting you with the right technologies to help your business perform at its peak potential all day, every day. Discover more at appliedconnective.com and go Big Red.
Returns on the farm are under pressure, with market challenges and environmental hurdles putting every seed to the test. But you have an ace in the hole, Streamline Ag. Designed for every phase of growth and development, Streamline Ag gives your seed what it needs to thrive, from enhanced stand establishment and early emergence to essential nutrition and stress management. Streamline Ag gives your seed the power to reach its full potential. Visit us at streamline-ag.com to learn more.
Spotting the perfect fit is kind of your thing. So when it comes to finding a used car, start your search at FordBlueAdvantage.com and find the perfect certified pre-owned vehicle at your local Ford dealer. One that comes with serious perks, like a thorough inspection, a Ford-backed warranty, even a Carfax report. Because you know what they say, the best finds are the ones that feel made for you. Ford Blue Advantage. Used car buying that's built for you. Available at participating dealers only. See your dealer for details and limitations.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Welcome back into Sports Nightly. Very special guest here in studio. Kyle Crooks back with you, but I'm not the special guest. Special guest is the head football coach, and that's Matt Rhule. Coach, you've been very busy nowadays. I mean, one thing to the next. Busiest guy in Lincoln. How you hanging in? You getting much sleep nowadays?
I'm enjoying every second of it. You know, you're building your team. So it's a lot of work by a lot of people. I want to make sure I add. But we're finishing up kind of in the next couple of days, and then I'll hit the road on Monday, Tuesday for old school high school recruiting.
How about that?
which will be a lot of fun too.
This portal period, just the guys that you have here now and that have signed here from the transfer portal, what do you like about the group that you've brought in and how you're trying to improve this? I'm sure you have a very in-depth plan of how you wanted to improve this football team going into the offseason. How do you think you guys have done that?
Well, I think, first of all, I think you start with Pat Stewart, Keith Williams, Logan Holgerson, the job that they've done. And I think one thing that I don't know if people spend a ton of time paying attention to is that we basically have re-signed all the guys who played for us. We did lose Keona, and Keona, we wish him all the best. He's a great young man. But, a lot of teams are being stripped of their players, and they were really proactive going into the season. So to get an Isaiah Hunter back, to get Ja'Cory Barney back, those guys have a lot of suitors out there. I think it speaks a lot to the University of Nebraska, to living in Lincoln, to living in Nebraska. It speaks a lot to the culture within the athletic department and certainly our program, that Shavers and Lenhard and Waneri and all those guys, Andrew Marshall, all these guys who played a ton of football, because when you have a young team like we had last year, the danger is that people come in and poach those guys away, and then all of a sudden, we're sitting there watching Ole Miss and we're watching Princeville play and like, hey, he used to play for us. And so a lot of people have gone away from high school recruiting as a result of that. We signed less high school kids this year because of the way the world is, but it was a major, feat, I believe, to get all those kids back that played for us last year and to be able to push them forward. And then to add in the right players to take us to the next level, to be an older team, to help get us over that hump. And so really pleased with the guys that we have in. We're not done. We have maybe 1 to 2 more. But I think Pat and his staff have done really, really, really a remarkable job.
What goes into those heart-to-heart conversations, I would assume, when it comes to retention right? Because there's a lot of people that are reaching out. There's a lot of people that are tampering. It's NCAA football nowadays. That's the reality of what this is. But I assume you have these guys in their exit interviews and the one-on-one. What goes into the heart-to-heart? And I'm sure they ask a lot about, okay, what's the financial piece now? Every single year it's a new negotiation. So how tough is that, the retention aspect of it?
Yeah, I think the word tampering is dead now. There is no tampering.
It's just the reality.
It's just the process, right? A lot of our guys have representation, so you're dealing with the representation in terms of, or Pat is, in terms of what it would look, financially and the compensation. And obviously that's a major piece. I think every person probably listening to this, when they're deciding between a job or two jobs, or should I take a new job, which is really what we're talking about. Going to a new school is taking a new job. What's the financial piece? And then beyond that is, what's my role moving forward? The hard thing is sometimes guys spend a lot of time thinking about what their role was last year, but it's about what the role will be next year. And so not everyone can stay. Not everyone should stay. We've had some really good players leave, and we wish them nothing but the best. I was fired up to see Jason Mashashak sign at Wyoming, fired up to see Maverick Noonan, who I love, end up at Fresno. And, I was making calls for Kenneth Williams, trying to help him because there's just not going to be enough money. There's not going to be enough playing time to go around for everyone. And that's just the new normal. So there's those things. And then the final piece I always say to guys is, are you happy? Sometimes you can just be, it's still college. You still want to have a really cool experience. And so sometimes, don't let a certain dollar figure take away your happiness. So, hey, what's my role going to be? What's the financial compensation going to be? And then, are you happy? Are you having a good experience? And so I think that's why we signed so many. And I'm also proud of the guys who did leave, who maybe weren't in our too deep. They're signing FBS offers. So I think it speaks a lot about the job we've done building the team.
When you look into your main observations of those last 3 games of the year, and you do this self-evaluation as a program, as a staff, with the new coaches you've brought in, the new players you've brought in, what's maybe the message as to what needs to change in the regard of what happened towards the end of the year, the guys you brought in, and how maybe they shift the narrative from what we saw towards the end of the year?
Yeah, the end of the year obviously was not good enough. And I think I think that all came down to coaching. It all came down to, obviously in the bowl game we were down some key players. We went out. When you don't have Deshaun out there, you don't have some guys you're counting on. I mean that can affect you a little bit, but it comes down to coaching. I thought we saw a team at the end of the year that mentally had lost on defense, had lost their confidence. And as I said back then, I put that squarely on myself, but I fixed it. I think Rob Orrish has brought in a whole new vibe. He came in, looked at the defensive staff, and picked the guys. It's not X's and O's. It's not like, hey, were we doing the wrong things necessarily? It's just, where our guys were at. And so I think Rob's brought a whole new vibe, a positive energy, a lot of hope and juice. He's hired a good staff. Offensively, I think, Jeep Wade and Lonnie Teasley are going to make an unbelievable difference for us. They're great coaches. And so, that happened. I prefer, for me, as I think about team building, I prefer to think about being 3 points away from Michigan, 4 points away from USC, and how do we fix that? Take away the mental, emotional kind of thing that happened at the end of the year. And I think a lot of that has to do with being better on the offensive and defensive lines. And so we've worked to that, and we've retained the guys that we felt like we needed. We've added in some key pieces, I think, to make those units the type of unit that can really be dominant. And I think when you look at a lot of other teams in this league that had really good years, they've lost a lot of key pieces because this is you can no longer hoard players. You now have to have team building, and you have to build a team. And maybe I'll take a little less at this position, have a little bit more here because there's only so much finances, at least for most teams, right? So some teams, maybe have a different thing, but for the most part, everyone's kind of working from the same bucket. And so who can build the best team? And I think we've done a good job of putting some assets into the offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah, and let's go there, lines of scrimmage, specifically defensive line, because I think for the fan base, that's where a lot of the questions came, at least late in the year. Do you feel like this is now a roster, and it's not quite done yet, right? There could be a few additions that come in that can make a 180 when it comes to the line of scrimmage and specifically maybe that defensive line and the production there?
Yeah, and I think, again, I think it's simplistic just to say it was the D-line, right? I mean, a lot of explosive runs were a safety coming downhill. You're going to have your safeties in the fit and missing the tackle and the guy running for 80 yards. So I think it's improving everywhere. I thought during bowl practice, I thought even in the bowl game, though the game obviously did not go our way, a lot of guys had made significant progress. And so, but yeah, bringing in, obviously on defense, we signed Jasir Whittington, who's a dynamic player from Pitt. Andy from Iowa Western is a really good player that a lot of people in the country wanted. We have another young man on campus today, and so we're not done there. Signing Anthony Jones from UCLA, a guy we went against, and we know how good he is. So we added some veterans to that room, and then also excited to see Cam Lenhart be a senior. Riley Van Poppel, he's kind of stepping into his own right now, and really many more, right? And so Cade Petchock had a great freshman year. Now he's a sophomore. Will Waneri, got his first year with us. Now he's a junior. So we have the guys in the room that we need. And so, and I think Rob has to then put the whole thing together where we're playing not disjointed football, but where we're playing defense as a unit. And it's what we did the first 2 years here. We didn't have as good a year last year. And my pitch has been easy to everybody. Like, hey, we were in the top 10 in defense and everything. The year before I got here, I think it was 108th in rush defense, and then we were in the top 10, and then now fell back again. So it won't happen again.
From a coaching staff standpoint, it sounds like Corey Brown's going to be in the mix here as the defensive line, and you had said with Zach Gelb the other day that it's just a matter of paperwork, and there's an addition, hopefully in the secondary as well. And then let's go here because you had touched on it a couple of days ago about Coach Eckler and sort of what he'd done to help the special teams unit here at Nebraska. And there's all the rumors out there about him possibly moving on. But you have from hearing you talk, it seems like you have a really good confidence as to what you have internally in that special teams room and how all the guys have helped that unit take a big step. Yeah,
well, I'd say first, defensively, Rob came in and he looked at the guys that were there. And what he's done, I think, a great job of is blending who's here that has great relationships and is a great teacher, and how do I utilize them the best. So, Rob Orich, he's always been a coordinator who also coaches the backers, with Rob Dvorak in that room. So, he'll coach the backers with Rob. Brought in Roy Manning as the edges coach, who's been everywhere and a great coach. Brought in Corey Brown with the D tackles. And so even just breaking those up and, having the resources, Troy Dannon allowing me to have the resources to hire 2 coaches instead of 1 for the D-line, I think will also improve the play that's there. Addison Williams has done a great job. Obviously we were, I think, 3rd in the country in pass defense last year. I'm not sure how it ended up, but in the top 10 at least. And Addison did a great job with that. And then so we've also added in now, we're in the process of finalizing Miles Taylor coming from the Chargers. And I think you look at Miles, you look at Roy, you look at Corey, they've all been in Rob's system, whether it was at, Idaho or South Dakota State or San Diego State. So you have these guys who can accelerate the learning curve. And then you have guys like Addison, guys like Phil Simpson, guys like Rob Dvorak, who've been here, who can also bring the connection with the players. So I'm really excited about the defensive staff. You mentioned Coach Eckler, and he obviously has some decisions to make. He did a great job. I thought our special teams, especially like in the beginning and the middle of the year, I thought were significantly improved. They certainly weren't, our goal was to, we're going to make a jump this year and we'll outplay Iowa on special teams. And that didn't happen. So, there's a lot more meat on the bone that we want to do special teams wise. And we return a dynamic returner in Ja'Cory Barney. Sometimes people ask me about Archie's net punting. You take Michigan State when he was punting the ball into the wind out. I think he had 3 that averaged about 20 yards, and all of a sudden that average jumps up to like 3rd. So I think Archie's a dynamic young player, and Kyle and John come back, so we get that battery back. We lost our snapper, Kevin Gallick. We just signed Will, so we feel really good about that. And I'm grateful to Mike for what he did. I signed Mike. I brought Mike Eckler here, and he told me he wanted to be here in the state of Nebraska. He's from here. This is where he wanted to be. As I said the other day, during the middle of the year, we were really pleased with what happened. So what was going on? So we signed him, offered him a long-term extension, and make him the first or second highest paid special teams coordinator in the country. That came from Troy. And so if he doesn't want to be here, that is what it is. I think this is a special place. I think this is a great place. But I also think this is a place, where, to get it done here when there's a lot of people always looking at you, there's a lot of opinions, there's a lot of things. You better have guys that are in the foxhole with you. And if someone's 1 foot in, 1 foot out, that's not my issue. That's their issue. And so what I do appreciate about what Mike's done is he's a really good man, and he's a really good coach, and he's taught me a great system. If you look back to the year, all the times I talked about Eck, I would talk about how great of a teacher and coach he is, and how the teaching progression is the best I've ever seen. So we'll keep that, right? So, he brought Nick Humphrey here, who played for him at Tennessee, worked with him at Tennessee. Josh Martin has been here. And I think the secret weapon we've had has been Brett Maher. People might think Brett just does the kickers, punters, and snappers, but man, that guy, he really, really understands special teams. So if and when Eck leaves and moves on, those 3 guys will take over in some form. We won't change anything. We won't bring anyone in from the outside because the system we have internally is way too good. And we'll just have to do a good job next year of making good decisions. I mean, you can't bring every ball out of the end zone. You can't try to hit a home run every time. We have to be a little bit probably more disciplined in terms of some of the things that we do, because it's not about playing special teams for special teams' sake. It's about helping the team win. And that's if there's one thing we can do better next year, it's not for the glory of the special teams or the special teams coach or whatever. It's for the unit. And so not everyone always likes that, but you build a team to win. You don't build a team for stats. And so we will have a really good group of guys who will take over the special teams if Mike leaves. And I think we'll be better than we were.
Chatting with Coach Rhule, the quarterback position was one of the big questions heading into the offseason, and you bring in Anthony Calandria, and it was pretty widely reported and out there that you had a quarterback committed, and 24 hours later, here we are with a new quarterback. It's just the way life goes, right? That is the NCAA transfer portal. So can you take me in that 24 hours? The fan base's head was spinning. I'm sure your head's spinning, but you land with a guy here who's a legit stud, Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. I literally, it was about 7:00. I'm getting ready to go home. I hadn't seen my daughters in a while, and Pat Stewart comes walking down the hall. He's like white as a ghost, and he's like, come here. And he goes in, and the young man's agent was on the phone, and just, at the end of the day, another school came in and, had made a run at another quarterback and kind of had offered him a blank check, and got with the family, and hey, they felt like it was better for them in many aspects. And so, we dealt with that, and then it was just like, hey, let's quickly turn. So, we called Logan. A lot of people were home already, right? We called Logan Holgerson in the room. Pat sat in the room. I sat in the room. Jarrett was on. My chief of staff sat in the room. A couple other guys maybe. It was like, hey, who's out there and who's left? And because it's never about who's gone, it's about who you have. And we're blessed that we have TJ Lateef, who, after everything TJ went through this year and now another offseason, man, he's going to be dynamic. So we weren't in like desperation mode, but our job is to put together the best quarterback room possible and let the guys battle it out. So, there were some guys that we thought were going other places, and then that had fallen through. So just like this young man kind of made a commitment to us and then walked away, as bad as that could maybe look, there's other kids that had made a commitment somewhere, and the school had said, hey, you know what, we're going to go another direction. So it's really a weird time, and so nothing's official till it's signed. And a lot of people said to me, well, why didn't you guys sign it? Like, try dealing with an agent. Like, you give them the paperwork, they redline it, it goes back. Jonathan Bateman works here for us, does a great job. Mm-hmm. And, there's multiple contracts, there's multiple things, and the agents go back and forth. And so, we felt like once it was announced on ESPN, it was probably legit. It didn't turn out that way, right? Some of these things take 3 days, some of these things take a week for them to agree on all the different terms within the contract. So, so we started looking, hey, who's out there, right? And so we had really 3 guys, and I got on the phone with everyone. It was very transparent. Like, hey, listen, we're bringing this guy in. He gets it first, and we're bringing this guy. Then we're bringing this guy. Along the way, Jarrett, Jarrett's not a football coach. He played football. He was 24 years law enforcement, Charlotte PD, and then into the ATF. And he sat there, and I remember him saying, he's like, guys, I know we have our pecking order that you guys have kind of described, but like, why don't, if Calandria can be here tomorrow morning, why wouldn't you just bring him in? And we're like, it just feels kind of awkward. This guy's going to come in, then this guy. And we said, you know what? We shouldn't do that. And he kind of sat back quietly. And they said again, I just want to say it again, guys. Like, why would we not get the first guy in here as soon as possible? And we did it. So Anthony came in, and I'll tell you, like, they come in and like they kind of come out to the field and they kind of walk in, and our whole staff's there to meet every recruit, right? And I watched him get out of the car. I shook his hand. I met his mom, met his dad. Watched him as he shook everyone's hands. And as we're walking in, I turned around to Logan. I said, "That's our guy." Like, you could just feel the charisma, the juice, the energy. And then we brought another young man in who was awesome too. And then we had a third guy that was supposed to come in. But at the end of the day, like, we went back, we watched Anthony's tape. And I think a great lesson for us is, like, when you can watch the game tape all you want and see, like, hey, he drops like this player drops like this, they throw it like this. But man, I put on like his game tape highlights. And it's like when he touched the ball at Virginia and when he touched the ball at UNLV, he was electric. And I think that's kind of what we need. Like, for Dana to really go be Dana Holgorsen and to, like, go let it rip, just to be aggressive, we need a playmaker. And I felt that about Anthony. So we pivoted, went to Anthony. He took it. We had to make 2 hard calls, which we did. One young man was on campus, one was on his way there. They both found great spots. But we came away with Anthony. And then, sometimes things happen and they're really hard. But one of the things, like, I walk in the building, I have so much joy in my heart right now that Danny Kalen is in this building. Like, he's supposed to be a Husker. A lot of people, like, oh, I love Nebraska, and that's what Nebraska can do for them. Like, Danny wants to be at Nebraska. And, when he left, I understood it. And I told him, if you ever want to come back, you can always come back. And so we right now have 3 guys. We have 3 guys in our building that started an FBS game this year. We have 3 guys in our quarterback room who have started Power 4 games. Not many people have that. And so I think we'll have great competition. I think we'll have a lot of energy and juice. And I think it's a good example when something bad happens, like the young man decommitting from us at the last minute. Instead of panicking, instead of being like, oh, man, I looked at it as an unbelievable challenge. And I think we came away better. And that's not a shot at anyone. I just feel like Anthony Calandria is the right guy to bring in the portal. TJ Lateef is the right guy to continue to develop. And then Danny Kalen, he's a Husker. He needs to be here. And I hope everyone really appreciates Danny coming back here and what that says and what that means. Knowing the room, because he didn't come in before those 2 guys. He knew what was in the room, but he's a Nebraskan. He's a Husker. And he wanted to get in the foxhole with us. And that's how I look at this. I look at this right now like, hey, man, who's in the foxhole with us? A lot of guys tell me they're in the foxhole, and when things get hard, they're not there anymore. Mm-hmm. Danny came running back to jump in that foxhole. I can't wait to see what he does.
What's that dynamic like now in the quarterback room? There's tough conversations that have to be had, and I'm sure TJ's scrolling through Twitter and sees news that, okay, Anthony Calandria is coming in.
Well, let me say this, because I love talking to you. TJ didn't find out about these guys on Twitter. Like that's not how we do things.
Sure.
TJ, his representation, his family, they were communicated to ahead of time. And I think when you ask about retention, I think that's why, because we're straight up, we're honest. Like, we're probably the only staff in the country that told guys that wanted to play more, hey, go in the portal, and if you don't get what you want, you can come back. Like, not many people are doing that. Like, but we are transparent, and then we take care of the players who are transparent with us. Like, if you go behind our back and you're making calls and all that, like, that's not the way I do business. I'm not teaching them anything about being an adult. So I don't deal with those guys. But the guys who walk in our offices and they're like, Coach, maybe I want more money. Maybe I want to play more. We deal with those guys great. So TJ, to your point, what you're about to say, and please forgive me for interrupting you, but I think it's really important. We reached out to them proactively before he had even signed his deal. And he knew Calandria was coming in, and TJ still signed his deal because he's a competitor. And Anthony's a competitor, and then Danny he's a competitor. There was no like walk in and, oh, he's here. No, they all knew it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think is so cool about that room. And I think our team is really gonna gravitate to that quarterback room.
That's the first portion of our chat with head coach Matt Rhule. Still plenty to talk about, a lot of topics on the table. Really appreciate him hopping in with us here for Sports Nightly. I know you're eager to hear from him, so we'll have more of that conversation coming up right after this.
Returns on the farm are under pressure, with market challenges and environmental hurdles putting every seed to the test. But you have an ace in the hole, Streamline Ag. Designed for every phase of growth and development, Streamline Ag gives your seed what it needs to thrive, from enhanced stand establishment and early emergence to essential nutrition and stress management. Streamline Ag gives your seed the power to reach its full potential. Visit us at streamline-ag.com to learn more.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Weekend, Toyota trucks are raring to go. Gearing up for fall, Tundra is all in for hauling. Campers, ATVs, you know Tundra's got the muscle to move it. Going off the beaten path? Tacoma says, let's do this. With handling that tackles tough trails and the backbone to take you where the pavement can't. Both trucks pack sweet tech, posh cabins, and Toyota's legendary reliability. So whether it's a fishing trip at dawn, tailgate at noon, or a remote sunset at, well, sunset, these trucks are built to make every weekend epic. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, Baxter Toyota of Lincoln, Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, or Village Point Toyota of Omaha.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Spotting the perfect fit is kind of your thing. So when it comes to finding a used car, start your search at FordBlueAdvantage.com and find the perfect certified pre-owned vehicle at your local Ford dealer. One that comes with serious perks, like a thorough inspection, a Ford-backed warranty, even a Carfax report. Because you know what they say, the best finds are the ones that feel made for you. Ford Blue Advantage. Used car buying that's built for you. Available at participating dealers only. See your dealer for details and limitations.
The work is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, you won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
Since 1975, Woodhouse has proudly served our customers and communities. From one dealership to over 21 dealerships across Nebraska and Iowa, our promise remains the same. A wide selection of vehicles, trusted service, and financing that fits your life. We believe in honest people, fair prices, and relationships built to last. Because it's not just about the road ahead, it's about traveling it together. Start your journey at woodhouse.com.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealers, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Kyle Crooks back here on Sports Nightly. We had head coach Matt Rhule a little bit earlier in the day here in studio for a long conversation touching on a lot of different topics here in the offseason, heading into this year, the current college football playoff, what it's going to take for Nebraska to get to that level and continue to work to that level. So a lot of things on the table. Here's the second part of that conversation. You brought in some playmakers on the offensive side as well. Quasi Gilmer, who we went up against at UCLA as well. And you said it before, and I think when you watch the games, you could see it. You wanted a little bit more explosiveness from the offense. How do you think maybe this team is going to be situated moving forward with a guy like Anthony or TJ, Danny, whoever's playing quarterback, in terms of the explosiveness of this offense that you want to see, and now how this team is situated to maybe help Dana's system along a little bit better?
Yeah, I think we took a lot of sacks last year, and I think when you're an offensive coordinator, it's really hard to call the game the way you want when you're not sure if you can call a pass play or not because you might take a sack. And so I think I thought we ran the ball really well, but we struggled. And it's easy to say, well, that's on the offensive line, but sometimes it's on the quarterback, sometimes it's on the offensive line, sometimes it's on the back, sometimes it's on those guys getting open. So we went into it. We really like our receiver group. We think Isaiah had some dynamic moments. Ja'Cory's been a dynamic player. You saw Quinn Clark in the bowl game, catch a fade for a touchdown, catch a fade down the left sideline. Keelan Smith, Cortez Mills, lots of really good young players that we think can start. But Quasi was a special one, right? He brings He brings elite speed and the ability to go out there. If you want to play man, and he can win one-on-one. They played Penn State. He gets behind him, makes a contested catch for like a 50-yard play. Caught a corner route against us 2 years ago. Caught the ball at the 11-yard line on the left numbers facing the North Stadium. Like, I only know that because when he showed up, I made him meet me right there. I was like, you caught that ball right here. But I think he brings a dynamic nature, and so if you have a quarterback like Anthony or like TJ or like Danny who's proven that they can extend plays, and you can call those plays, not worrying about, hey, what's going to happen. If you have an offensive line, and what we've done on the offensive line, we're really excited about getting those guys to really develop, and so we can run it or throw it at any time, and you don't know what we're going to do, and then to have the weapons that we have, and to add in Quasi, and then I never want to take away Luke, like what Luke can do inside. And then Carter Nelson came on at the end of the year, so Quasi is a great addition. And it was really cool. Sierra Wright was really big in that. Sierra and Quasi grew up, knew each other. Sierra talking about to Quasi, at least what Sierra told me, about how much this place affected him, how he came here a football player and left a pro, how he came in here a young guy and left a man, and what Nebraska, what the University of Nebraska, what the football program, what living here has done for him, getting out of L.A., getting out of his comfort zone, coming here, how much of an impact it's had on him. And so Quasi, could have gone to a lot of places, and he decided to come here. So I think it's going to allow us to be more explosive, along with kind of all the other components I just talked about.
Running back room. Emmett Johnson, one of the better seasons we've seen in over a decade here at Nebraska from that position. Mekhi Nelson had a pretty good bowl game, couple of explosive runs. Isaiah Mosey, I know you guys are really high on. Quentin Ives, Connor Booth. There's a lot of names in that room. In terms of what's the confidence level that you have a featured back or a 1 and a 1A in that group that can really excel here in the Big Ten? Yeah, we haven't, obviously we look through everything. We look at everything. We evaluate every position. We evaluate every guy in the portal. But we like the running back room. Mekhi has the home run ability that we talked about. Mosey he's a big back who's shifty, who can catch the ball out of the backfield too. Quentin Ives got in the bowl game, and a lot of our season comes back. If you go back through our season, whether it's the first drive against Michigan, whether it's the first drive against Penn State, whether it's the decision to go for it or kick a field goal at USC late in the game, a lot of it came down to our ability to convert short yardage plays. And obviously Jeep brings a different dynamic in terms of the things he likes to do in those situations. But Quentin Ives in the bowl game, we went for 3rd and 1, we went for 4th and 1, and he got them all. And so we've been bringing Quentin along, and now we feel like he can fill some of those roles too. And then you mentioned Connor Booth. We have a great young group in that room. And then I would not forget about Jamal Rhule, who was a highly, highly touted guy that came in, and we got a chance to see him in bowl practice. So, when you look at the portal, if you don't lose a ton of guys, there's only so much money you have to compensate the rest of it. And when we look at the running back room, we believe in those guys, and we're going to roll with them. When you look at the college football playoff and some of those teams that are left in Miami and Indiana, and we know what Curt Cignetti has done, but the common theme that you see in these playoff teams, and I don't want to put this on you, but how close do you feel Nebraska is to taking that next step that fans are hoping for? Yeah, I don't think we're in any position to say where we are. I think we just have to work. You can't come off the end of last year and then start selling, hey, we're going to do this next year, right? Like, for us, it's about killing the portal. I mean, you watch those teams, they play great defense. Miami went out and brought in a new defensive coordinator from Minnesota, right? And with great players that they have at Miami and a great defensive scheme, they're dominant on defense. Bryant Haynes at Indiana, not many people. Bryant's an elite defensive coordinator, so they both play great defense. And they both have veteran quarterbacks who make the plays to win, right? And so we believe Rob's going to give us a great defense. We believe that we have 3 quarterbacks who can win, and then putting the pieces around them and putting the offensive line in front of them to allow them to be successful, I think is really all we can focus on right now. And we will humbly just kind of grind through this off season and get ready for a great year. Yeah, you've talked about this in the past, just about calendar and things that and how crazy it is right now in college football. Is this financial model, what we're doing right now, it can't be sustainable, right? I mean, this is a really tough way of going about one, the calendar, but the year in, year out free agency that you have here in college football, this is tough.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, right? We are where we are, and I don't think it's going away. I don't think it's changing. I don't think just even legally, I don't think it can change anytime soon. It might morph into something that's better and more sustainable, but it just is what it is. So, my thing is, we're blessed at the University of Nebraska. We're a top brand. We sell out all of our games. We're financially stable. So, my thing since being here is I think we should be one of the top teams in the country in terms of player acquisition and player retention. If we want to have Final Four volleyball teams, we need to have great volleyball players. If we want to have undefeated basketball teams, we need to have great players. And if we want to have college football playoff team, then we need to have great players. And so, Troy Dannon has done an amazing job. The board, they've all done a great job of helping us modernize and get there. And my challenge would be Miami was dead, football was dead at Miami. And they've been investing. It didn't happen just last year. They've been investing for many years, and look, they're back. Texas was dead, and look, they're back. So you have to invest. Indiana, what they've done is remarkable, but they invest. And some of that's starting to come out right now, how much they invest, right? So the Mark Cubans of the world and all that, they invest. And so I'm proud to be at Nebraska. I love the way that we're beginning to really step up the investment. And I think you're starting to see it in the portal with some of the guys that we got, some of the people that we beat on those guys. This is a great place. We just need to get people here, show it to them, and then keep them here.
Before you know it, we'll have spring football, and it sounds like you've said before we're trending back to a normal spring game. Would that be fair to say that we're heading in that direction?
Yeah, they got rid of that spring portal, so we'll play a spring game, and because of the portal and how many new players come in, we've moved our spring up. So instead of the traditional late spring model. We're going to get our guys in here. They're in here right now. They started, on Monday. They're training. They're going to train for 5 or 6 weeks while we're on the road recruiting, and we're actually going to start spring ball in late February. And we're going to go for 3 weeks at a really accelerated rate because I want all those guys that came in from, whether it's Tree who came in from South Carolina or Paul Mubenga who came in from LSU or Jamal Rhule who came in from high school. I want them to get into the football. I want us to see where our team's at. I want a little bit more time if a guy gets injured to have him back before the season. So a lot of Southern teams do early spring balls, or at least they have in the past. It's a little bit harder to do when it's a little bit colder area, but we're going to do it. And so we're going to go, and then we're going to take a split at the spring break, and then we're going to come back in the last week and have the spring game on the 28th. And my thought is, that spring break week, we're going to treat it like a bye week. It's a one bye week year next year, so we're going to let the guys go for a week and come back that following Sunday, Monday, and say, hey, you have a week to get ready for the game. We'll play the game on the 28th. I think baseball and softball play that day. Mm-hmm. And, I'm sure it'll be on the Big Ten Network so people can see the direction we're heading and what we have.
Excited for that. And also announced today the addition of flag football, women's flag football as a varsity sport here at Nebraska. I believe that'll become a varsity sport in 2028, but there's a ramp-up process. It was announced today. They'll have a press conference coming up next week. But how about that? Really, really exciting. I know you're a champion of women's sports and specifically flag football.
I think it's great. It's if it's in the Olympics and this is the greatest football state in the country, I think it should be here. I think it should be in our high schools. I think it should be in our youth programs. I think it's great that the university made this decision. We started the She Got Game girls flag football camp last year or 2 years ago. We support it. We had the flag football game with our young ladies here. I think it was versus Midland. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Midland last year before the spring game. So what a great way to grow the sport. And I have 2 little girls at home who love volleyball and love basketball. And now that this is available and knowing that they can go play it in college and maybe someday even in the Olympics, I can't imagine the doors that it's going to open up. So I think we have the greatest fan base in the country. I think we have the most knowledgeable fan base in the country. And I think this is just going to grow the sport even greater and let more people play it and play it at a high level. So kudos to Troy, Dan, and kudos to Dr. Gold and everyone that's involved. It's something that we've dreamt about since we got here, and I'm glad that it's happening.
Yeah, really cool news coming out. Coach, thank you so much. You're the man, hopping in here for about 30 minutes, and I know fans really want to hear from you, and this is just such a crazy time. Hopefully at some point you can get some sleep, close your eyes a little bit. I know we're not quite there yet. Transfer portal's still going on, and you're still, churning out visits and things like that and settling a coaching staff and a roster. But here we are. We're getting a little bit closer to spring ball and some normalcy. How about that? Sound good?
Let's get to spring ball. See everybody the 28th.
That's Coach Rhule. Appreciate Coach's time for joining us here on Sports Nightly. We'll have more of the show coming up after this.
And now, introducing the starting lineup of your Nebraska Huskers. Starring Allo Fiber. At number 1, Allo Internet. At number 2, no satellite dish required. DirecTV through Allo. And at number 3, Allo Mobile. Allo Fiber, the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of Husker Nation. Level up your game and go to allofiber.com/Husker Radio. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Spotting the perfect fit is kind of your thing. So when it comes to finding a used car, start your search at FordBlueAdvantage.com and find the perfect certified pre-owned vehicle at your local Ford dealer. One that comes with serious perks, like a thorough inspection, a Ford-backed warranty, even a Carfax report. Because you know what they say, the best finds are the ones that feel made for you. Ford Blue Advantage. Used car buying that's built for you. Available at participating dealers only. See your dealer for details and limitations.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. With Kyle Crooks, I'm Jessica Coody. Just a minute or so left here of hour number 1. Got a whole nother hour coming up for you here in this 7 o'clock hour. Great interview. I want to talk about it when we come back. We just don't have a lot of time to dive into some of the things here. But I did want to give a shout out to Art in Los Angeles. We've been praying and thinking about him. He's one of our most loyal listeners. He texted in. We sent him a little video. He wants to call into the show and kind of share his story, but hopefully he'll be able to do that next week. But it was great to see when I walked in here and sat in this chair, Art in Los Angeles had sent us a text.
Yeah, I mentioned that to Josh before when we came here in studio, and I looked up at the screen and I saw Art in Los Angeles. So that's a great sign. We put together a great video for him, get well. But you're right, he has been there for every event that we broadcast, every Sports Nightly, whether it's texting in and just letting us know his thoughts, or really his support for us is immeasurable. So we're so happy for Art.
Art, I will let you know. We'll give you your opportunity to call in, talk to Husker Nation, give us an update. But he had a medical health scare over the last couple of weeks, and so we're glad that he's back on his feet and texting in on the Sports Nightly text line. All right, going to go ahead and get to a break. Coming up, we'll dive into that conversation Kyle just had with Coach Rhule. We're going to talk some Nebraska track and field as another team that's potentially able to chase some championships here coming up over the next several months. We'll hear from the head coach, Justin St. Clair. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Think a bunch of IT gurus would have anything in common with a dominant college volleyball team? Hey Lincoln, I'm Ed Knott, president of Applied Connective, serving Nebraska businesses for nearly 20 years. We're proud to have a few things in common with our beloved Huskers, namely that we're also a group of hardworking and highly skilled individuals that make up one dynamic team. From our IT and cybersecurity all-stars to our phone, physical security, infrastructure, and audio-video pros, we're one team that can expertly manage all your technologies. Discover why it's a game changer to partner with us at AppliedConnective.com. And as always, go Big Red.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Returns on the farm are under pressure, with market challenges and environmental hurdles putting every seed to the test. But you have an ace in the hole, Streamline Ag. Designed for every phase of growth and development, Streamline Ag gives your seed what it needs to thrive, from enhanced stand establishment and early emergence to essential nutrition and stress management. Streamline Ag gives your seed the power to reach its full potential. Visit us at streamline-ag.com to learn more.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. With Allo plus DirecTV plus Allo Mobile, you get the ultimate teamwork. Internet you can count on, TV you can stream anytime, anywhere, and nationwide coverage you can depend on. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers.
Good evening. I'm Christopher Sullivan-Diaz. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. The University of Nebraska Athletic Department announced today the addition of women's flag football as a women's intercollegiate varsity sport. The announcement coincides with the NCAA's approval of women's flag football as an NCAA emerging sport for women. Nebraska head football coach Matt Rhule announced today the hiring of Corey Brown and Miles Taylor to the Husker coaching staff. Brown will serve as the Huskers' defensive line coach, while Taylor will tutor the safety position. Brown comes to Nebraska with 20 years of experience as a defensive assistant, including 18 seasons as a defensive line coach. He spent the past 3 seasons as the defensive line coach at Miami, Ohio. Coming up at 8 p.m., the 6th-ranked Nebraska wrestling team takes on the 7th-ranked Minnesota Golden Gophers in Minnesota for another top 10 matchup for the Husker wrestling team. Our sports ticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, a disciplined process, the Retirement Compass. Visit StonebridgeIWM.com. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Dribbles left-handed dribble. Climbing up underneath him is Wilkerson. He drives to the right side, rubs a man off, over to Mass, puts up the 3. Got it! Holy cow! Mass puts it up and in, and Nebraska's up by 9. Rico, free throw up, and it's no good, and the rebound to Sanford, and the Huskers are going to win this one. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Sanford's not going to be fouled, and it is over. It is over. Nebraska on the road goes 16-0. 5-0 in the conference, knocking off Indiana 83-77. Basketball School 83. Football School 77. Renamed the movie. It ain't the Hoosiers, it's the Huskers.
Rebound, Caffey comes up the floor with 4, with 3, with 2, drives, kicks underneath, so Gooman puts it up, blocked! Emphatically blocked by Petrie to end the game, and that is a Nebraska winner. Jessica Petrie with a big-time block to end this game.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks, on the Huskers Radio Network.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly, our final hour of the week. It's been a fun week, a busy week, and all of a sudden we got lots to talk about in terms of football news. We've got flag football, hoops teams, so going to try to talk a lot about all of that. I got a little bit about all of that here coming up in the next hour, but I did want to go back to your conversation with Coach Rhule because we didn't have time to dive into it, a few of the notables, I guess. And, you know, we had joked over the last couple of weeks that tonight, the close of the transfer portal for most teams, now some of the teams that are in the college football playoff, they'll be able to, those guys will still have the opportunity to enter the portal. And it's just you can't go into it. So they'll have visitors here over the next week. So we by no means are done just because the portal's done tonight. We'll continue to talk portal news for this football team coming up into next week.
Yeah, they'll probably, I know they had somebody in yesterday, and then they'll probably have somebody in on Sunday when you're looking at the defensive line. So they're certainly not done. There's a few more options that could be out there for Nebraska, but the bulk of what they've done, this is been an off season where they have gone out and significantly improved, especially on the offensive line. Still waiting potentially on, again, a couple on the defensive line, but you improved at your linebacker position. You improved in the second level of the defense. You improved in the secondary. You've improved at the wide receiver position, and that's not just bringing in Quasi Gilmer. That's retaining Isaiah Hunter. That's retaining Ja'Cory Barney. Retaining some of the other guys in a Quinn Clark and a Cortez Mills. I'm sure all of those guys have had people reach out to them, and I'm sure they all have agents, and they hear, hey, this school or that school might be interested. So the retainment of what Coach Rhule and his staff has done, I think, is under-talked about or underappreciated a part of this entire offseason. The fact that for the most part, outside of Keona Davis, and there was smoke on Dylan Raiola for a long time, we probably knew that was going to happen. But the fact that they've retained the core of their guys is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we talked all going back to last spring before you even got here when DB and I were covering this football team back in the spring about all the underclassmen. There's so many and some great young talent that they are really, really excited about their potential and developing those guys. But you got to get older. And they did that this year with the transfer portal. So you retain that young talent that you're really, really excited about, that you're going to be able to develop and have an impact on this program in years to come. But you get the guys that can help you immediately and help you win football games immediately. So really great job done, not just by the guys they brought in, but the guys that are staying here at Nebraska. I thought it was interesting when you had asked about the quarterback situation. It was fascinating to hear him break all of that down, how it all unfolded, and just the process of the team and the staff and what the plan was, how they quickly pivoted. But I also thought it was interesting when you asked about TJ and you said, if he's finding out on social media, and he said, let me stop you right there. TJ did not find out on social media. We had those conversations with him. And that's what I think is a reason why a lot of these guys stay and don't want to leave, because of that right there, that having that dialogue and being open with, hey, this is what our plan is. You did great things, but you can't do it alone, and we got to get some guys in this room. And obviously TJ's more than okay with it, because TJ knew that quarterback news broke early. I mean, it was right when the portal opened over that first weekend. And so then they quickly, that first week, got the quarterback. So TJ knew what was going on before any of us did. Mm-hmm. And so TJ very well, if there was a quarterback coming in that he wasn't okay with, he had a week and a half to get into the portal if he didn't want to be a part of what was in place here and being a part of a quarterback competition.
Yeah, it's clear from that conversation that TJ Lateef wants to be here, and that he has confidence to eventually be the guy. And knowing that somebody in Anthony Calandria, who's coming in here, that has the swagger of a QB1, has the skill set of a QB1, that he still wanted to sign on the dotted line, tells me everything that I need to know about TJ Lateef. And the fact that Danny Kaelin comes back, and he waxed poetic about, this is a guy that wants to be at Nebraska. He was here, left, came back. This is a place, he's a big, Coach Rhule always uses the phrase, I'm a foxhole guy. I want people who want to be in my foxhole. And Danny Kaelin is one of those guys that wants to be in the trenches and bring Nebraska football back to where he wants it to be. And, I stopped short of asking, okay, so is this a true quarterback competition? Or it's too early to have those conversations. I would assume that Calandria is the QB1 going into spring, and it's his job to lose. But the way that Coach Rhule was talking made it seem like, hey, we're going to let these three guys go into it, and then whoever comes out, the winner is the winner. My assumption is one thing, but the way that I heard Coach Rhule talk, it's like these three guys are, they all have Power 4 experience. You have three quarterbacks in that room that have started a Power 4 game. And not a lot of teams could say that. I
love the return of Danny Kaelin. I was a big fan of his. One of my favorite interviews from that signing day class. He was wonderful to talk to. Just a great human being and a homegrown Husker. So cool that, he had talked about, hey, if you ever want to come home, come on home. And so the door was left open for him, and he came back through it. And what's fun about this is, hey, we're going to have a quarterback competition, or at least have a lot to watch for here coming up in the spring. And we're not going to have to wait very long for it, because they're going to start spring a little bit earlier and have that spring game earlier too.
And I like the fact, and I think you like the fact, I think Damon likes the fact that there's a spring game this year.
Yes.
So we're going to have a little bit more of a
Damon
traditional.
And I definitely like that fact.
A traditional radio broadcast. We're not going to have announce
Josh does too.
Bench pressing, and Josh and everybody back here.
Josh is back there going.
Josh is not going to have to produce a hot dog eating contest or whatever the heck happened last year.
That was the most bonkers broadcast I've ever been a part of.
That was part of the climate, right? Because there was a spring portal and people were stealing your players. So now there's only the one portal. They can go back to a traditional game that probably is going to be broadcast on Big Ten Network. We know it's going to be on the Husker Radio Network, but it's going to be on television. It's going to be a chance to showcase this program. You're going to get a lot of people here at Memorial Stadium, and it's going to feel like a game day Saturday. So that's good. It'll be on, and he did announce the date, March 28th. That's probably when that spring game is going to be played.
Okay, the other couple of things that I wanted to talk with you about, I thought you had asked about Coach Eckler. Again, we have talked a little bit about that here on the program. Still do not know what his status is, but when you asked about that, he immediately went to the defensive staff. And I also am really, really excited about this defensive staff. You could tell how convicted Coach Rhule, how much it just burns him that this team did not play as good a defense last season as what he is. He is the standard that he has set with his football programs, every program that he's led, about, starting with the defense. And it irked him that It just was not as good as what his teams usually are. And I also like the fact that you kept some of the guys that you really like that are great coaches, but Coach Orich also was able to put his thumbprint on building this staff and guys that understand what his messaging is, what his approach to it is, what it takes to get guys to play with what his expectations are. And so you could tell he really, really likes this staff and the way that he talks about it. And look, I know it's the offseason and that's his job to sell it, but I also just think that I personally know Roy Manning. I know he's a great coach, and Coach Orich, we've already seen what we've been able to see him on the practice field and just what his defenses have done. And so I think it's a really good staff that none of them are okay with how this team played defense last year.
No, and I asked him that specifically, those last 3 games, sort of his assessment and what happened. And it's very clear he went right to the coaching. He didn't go to the players and say, oh, the players weren't good enough. He said specifically the coaching was not good enough in those last 3 games, and the product kind of showed what it was. And when you add a Roy Manning and you're going to add a Corey Brown, it's pretty much all not quite official yet. And he even threw in the nugget that he's going to coach the defensive tackles specifically. You have Rob Orich, who's going to, along with Rob Dvorak, who are going to kind of tag team the linebackers. And then you have Miles Taylor, who's coming from the NFL, who's yet to be announced, but he'll work with the safeties. And then Addison Williams, who's proven his worth as one of the better coaches on this staff. So you have more than enough help, and that's not even throwing in a Phil Simpson, right? How does he factor into...
And he's huge in recruiting. Huge.
He's outright, he's been tweeting out, he's in Florida right now. That connection, that pipeline to Florida is what makes him, and maybe his role's adjusted a little bit, but in terms of recruiting, he's massive. You got a bunch of guys, Jamar Mosey, Keith Williams behind the scenes that are helping with the recruiting effort. I think defensively they've done everything from a coaching staff standpoint. And like you said, Rob, I'm sure, has been in on all of these conversations as to who he wants. They're situated to be a team that's well coached in a lot of different areas. They got more than enough help now.
There's so many storylines that we're gonna get to follow here going into spring football, which again is gonna happen quicker than what we usually see here in Lincoln. Okay, last kind of point I wanted to dive into is the Eckler situation, and not so much that, if he leaves, what's going to take place. I also thought, so as the season went along, look, the special teams took massive jumps. There's no doubt about it. But I also felt, I love what he said, there's still some meat on the bone there. I do think there's still some room for improvements there. And especially when teams started to try to game plan around not allowing the special teams for Nebraska to make some of those momentum swinging plays that we saw quite a bit more of towards the beginning of the season. Just how do you find ways to continue to make those happen? Because look, there are teams, and Iowa's been brought up a lot, that they know everybody knows that they're going to be good on special teams, and yet they never waver from being good on special teams, And so I think you saw maybe a little bit of a drop in terms of just like those big time plays on special teams. And I think Coach Rhule alluded to that too. And that he's got some guys, he learned a lot from Coach Eckler and some of the things that were established. And the guys that were a part of that, and I talked about this a couple nights ago when we brought this up, I can see it on the sideline. I can see the guys and how involved they are. And the 3 guys that he talked about are big time involved in the coaching on the sideline and going on the iPads and talking, have those conversations with all the different special teams units. So I have full faith in those guys, but I think just even hearing him say, look, yeah, we improved, but still not where we want to be.
We're better than Iowa.
We still have to be better in that regard. And we have guys that we learned a lot, we like the system, and now we can continue to grow in that.
Yeah, and it was newsworthy that he said we're not going to go outside and bring in a new special teams coordinator. So it looks like the trio of Nick Humphrey, Brett Maher, Josh Martin, they're going to be the trio that's going to deal with special teams moving forward if indeed Mike Eckler does leave. Now, every single passing hour, it seems like there's more smoke, and when there's smoke, there's usually fire. But if you read between the lines, Coach Rhule continues to say, "I want people that want to be here. If you have other opportunities elsewhere, more power to you. Go and do that. But if you want to be here, again, the whole thought, the analogy of foxhole guy." If you're not in the foxhole, that's great, but we're going to have guys that want to be here, and it sounds like he has 3 guys he's really confident with from a special teams perspective.
All right, great stuff there. And again, if you missed any of that conversation with Coach Rhule, we'll post it on our podcast platform so you can go back and listen to all of that. All right, going to get to a break. Coming up next, going to talk some Nebraska track and field with another program that expects to win trophies and championships and have national champions in indoor and outdoor track. And Justin St. Clair is one of the premier track and field coaches. We've heard Troy Dannon talk a lot about him over the past few years. But Kyle had a chance. Kyle, we're going to get your feet wet talking some track and field.
Oh, boy.
I
tried, but Coach St. Clair, he helped me along.
All right, so we're going to have that conversation coming up next for you here on Sports Nightly. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics.
Dear weekend, Toyota trucks are raring to go. Gearing up for fall, Tundra is all in for hauling. Campers, ATVs, you know Tundra's got the muscle to move it. Going off the beaten path? Tacoma says, let's do this. With handling that tackles tough trails and the backbone to take you where the pavement can't. Both trucks pack sweet tech, posh cabins, and Toyota's legendary reliability. So whether it's a fishing trip at dawn, tailgate at noon, or a remote sunset at, well, sunset, these trucks are built to make every weekend epic. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, Baxter Toyota of Lincoln, Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, or Village Point Toyota of Omaha.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
At Woodhouse, it's more than just buying a car. It's about the experience. Our team is dedicated to making every visit seamless, enjoyable, and personalized to your needs. Explore a wide selection of vehicles, from SUVs and sedans to trucks and luxury models, all backed by expert guidance and exceptional service. Whether it's your first car or your next upgrade, discover why generations of drivers trust Woodhouse for a truly memorable experience. Visit us at woodhouse.com today.
There is no place like Nebraska, and there's no peace of mind like knowing you have a dedicated team of technology experts working for your business around the clock. Hey Lincoln, I'm Ed Knott, president of tech company Applied Connective. It's a privilege to serve our great state for nearly 2 decades now with managed IT, cybersecurity, phone systems, physical security, and audio-video solutions. Our team understands the importance of fitting you with the right technologies to help your business perform at its peak potential all day, every day. Discover more at appliedconnective.com and go Big Red.
Dear weekend, Toyota trucks are raring to go. Gearing up for fall, Tundra is all in for hauling. Campers, ATVs, you know Tundra's got the muscle to move it. Going off the beaten path? Tacoma says, let's do this. With handling that tackles tough trails and the backbone to take you where the pavement can't. Both trucks pack sweet tech, posh cabins, and Toyota's legendary reliability. So whether it's a fishing trip at dawn, tailgate at noon, or a remote sunset at, well, sunset, these trucks are built to make every weekend epic. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, Baxter Toyota of Lincoln, Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, or Village Point Toyota of Omaha.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Back here on Sports Nightly, Kyle Crooks with you. We have a very special guest as we get set for indoor track season. And with that, the head coach of Nebraska Track and Field, Justin St. Clair, joins us in studio. This is, Coach, your first time inside these brand new studios. We had to make sure you knew your way to get here. Welcome.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's wow.
It's a little different than the last studios, right?
It's quite impressive.
So how about the excitement for you? Indoor track season getting set to start. You have the Graduate Classic coming up this weekend. Just the excitement of your group to get this thing underway.
Heck yeah. You know, it's the whole fall. You sit there and you train. You get to watch the other, teams across campus compete, and you're like, okay, when's our turn? And well, now we get our chance, and exciting time. We look forward to it for sure.
And in terms of newcomers, new faces that a lot of fans that go out and get a chance to watch, who are you looking at the most that have had a standout off season coming into this new year?
Yeah, we graduated quite a bit of people. We have a lot of new faces across the board, whether if that's in the distance side, the jump side, the throw side. We have a lot of new faces with a lot of talent. It's kind of hard to rattle all of them off, but, one of our guys from Kenya, he's an 800 guy, Shadrick, super talented young man. We brought a triple jumper in from Sri Lanka, Ashmika, super talented. On the girls' side, we have a couple sprinters. One, Elo, she's originally from Nigeria, transferred from Tennessee, and Victoria, same deal, came from Tennessee. There's a lot of new faces, a lot of new names with a lot of talent across the board. So it's kind of hard to rattle all of them off, but boy, there's a lot of good ones.
With a lot of international talent that you have on this team, just I guess let the fans know what's the mileage like in recruiting. Like how does that work? I know some of these are transfers from within different schools within the states, but you're getting a lot of names and faces from a lot of different places.
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, there's a lot of mileage for sure, but a lot of it also is just mutual connections of people that you know and trust, kind of in the game, but also a little bit with recruiting services that help you kind of pinpoint, okay, this is what you're looking for, this is who we have, and so it's a combination of everything, really.
Chatting with Justin St. Clair, Nebraska Track and Field head coach, indoor season getting set to start, and you already had the beginning of this season, right? On December 12th, you had the Husker Holiday Open at Devaney Indoor Track. What were your main takeaways from what you saw in December 12th?
Yeah, that early meet, you never really know what you're going to get because it's a long semester. A lot of the athletes are just, wrapping up finals or in the middle of finals. Some are kind of thinking, well, okay, holiday season, time to get back home. But it's a really good chance to kind of evaluate how has the training been and kind of evaluate what do we need to do when we come back. For me, I was very pleasantly surprised with a lot of things. Like, for example, my ex-Lena, our female shot putter, one of our female shot putters from Sweden. For her, it was a testing week. We weren't necessarily thinking, hey, this is going to be a really great meet, but the training had been going really well. She came out and broke the collegiate record. She had 3 throws within that competition that broke the collegiate record. She had 5 throws that would have broke the school record. So it was one of those things that you look back and say, wow, I just watched one of the best all-around collegiate throws series of all time. Like, it was the best of all time. We had a freshman pole vaulter, Dyson, who came out from a short approach, breaks the school record, which, again, is super exciting for that time of year, for a short approach to do those type of things, really neat. Mm-hmm. And then 2 of our high jumpers on the girls' side, Ella and Carson, they go out and have little PBs from just, a very easy approach and looks good. A lot of great things going on.
Axelina, you mentioned her, 2024 Olympian, 2-time NCAA champion, 6-time All-American. You just notice right away when somebody like that comes on campus that there's a different type of greatness that's there?
Yeah. She's not only she's a great athlete, but also just a great leader and a great teammate for people to say, hey, like, let's get after it. Let's get going and let's really be the best we can be. And she's a hard worker. Like, it's not just pure talent. It's a combination of really putting in the time and the effort and the energy on top of the talent.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the runners and distance runners, and Berlin Schultz stands out from Lincoln, Nebraska, right? School record holder in 1500. Broke the school record, I believe, as a freshman, right?
Yeah.
So Berlin Schultz, it's cool to have sort of a local flavor to this roster and what she brings.
Yeah, she's a team captain this year. Super committed. She's fun to watch. Like, you can see each year the strength coming, the endurance coming, and like each year she has progressed and it continues to get better and better and better. And I think this is going to be another year that you watch and you say, wow, she continues to raise the bar to the next level.
Who stands out from the sprinters group that you have this year?
Well, on the girls' side, like I said, the two transfers that we brought in, actually we brought in three transfers really. So you have Shakina. She transferred from Mary, which is in North Dakota, and then Elo and Victoria. They add to the already strong girls, Kelsey and Abrielle. Kelsey, last year had a great season as a freshman. She was a little bit sidelined with injuries. Like, she came in after having an ACL surgery. So last year was kind of like, hey, I need to get back into it type stuff and trust where my body is and injury-wise. And she still had a really great year. And Abrielle in the 400 hurdles, same thing. Just another individual who continues to mature and grow into where she needs to be. And I think all of those girls are going to have a really good year.
As a head coach, one thing you want to be there and help the performance aspect of it, but there's always injuries that come up in long seasons. How do you help with the mental side of these athletes when they go through some of these injuries and the long rehab to get back to this peak form that they want to get to? It can't be easy for these athletes.
That's one of the hardest. That's super hard because we're very competitive, and you go through these injuries and you think, okay, tomorrow I just got to get back to work. And sometimes it's not about getting back to work. It's about taking the time you need to get better. And, I thankfully, not thankfully, I went through that a lot as an athlete, a lot of injuries. Some of our other coaches have had, same situations where they've had a lot of injuries. So being able to use that wisdom and pass that along to them, I think is very beneficial because they can associate with it. And being able to sit down and just have conversations of, don't think of this as a, one-day process. This is a process that's going to take a few days for you to get better, maybe weeks, maybe months, but just follow the plan and make sure that you don't let the mental side of the injury set you back, because that part is also equally important. Because if you start thinking, oh, I'm never going to get better, this, that, then you kind of start believing that. And your body starts saying, okay, well, maybe I'm not going to get better.
Yeah.
So that piece is very important.
Yeah, it's all part of the hope as an athlete sometimes when you go through a really tough injury, is the thought that you will eventually get back to where you want to be, but it certainly takes time. Chatting with Justin St. Clair, Nebraska track and field, their indoor season continues. It started on December 12th, but be at Devaney Indoor Track on Friday and Saturday. You're entering your fourth year as head coach here, and I guess culture is a big part of what you want to develop. So when you become head coach, how is the culture built here within the track and field program?
Track and field is such a unique sport because we have so many moving parts. You might have a group practicing at this time, a group at that time. So, we're really all over the place throughout the day. And that means when you're not really at the same place at the same time, you don't see each other all the time. So you kind of start seeing little silos. Okay, you have the jump group over here, the throws group, the sprint group, the distance group. But the important piece is we have a lot of team meetings. And it's not so much about just having that team meeting, but it's really about bringing everybody together and being in the same room at the same time to just oh, hey, you're so-and-so, you're from this place. And that way, when the competitive season starts, now when Berlin is running a race, Hinku, one of my shot putters from South Africa, says, oh, that's Berlin. Now they know each other. Now there's a little more motivation to be there and cheer and support, because at the end of the day, we're in this together.
Yeah, that's super interesting, right? Because it's so spread out, right? It's hard to build cultures when it's as spread out as it is in your sport.
Right. You look at a lot of the team sports, hey, they all go at this time or that time, and it's easy to kind of evolve that and get them all bought in to the same thing at the same time. But in our in track and field, we're all over the place. So getting everybody, it's a process and it's a slow one. But once you kind of get that ball going and they start realizing and accepting, hey, yeah, track and field, it is very individualized. Like my results as an athlete, those are my results, but those results really impact the team. And when you start realizing, hey, what I do does impact the team, it means a lot more, not only as the individual, but also for the team. And when everyone starts rowing that boat that direction, now that culture just feeds itself. Now it's not like, oh, do we have to do this? Now it becomes, I look forward to doing this. We're doing this together, and now you are strong. Now you are moving the same direction as a unit, as a team, fighting for the same cause.
You had a chance to head out to Maryland for a very special ceremony. Michaelan Moore, who's getting a chance to read about him and how, of course, the athletic achievements, but academically and how much of a leader that he was. But he receives the NCAA Impact Award. The male recipient for the NCAA Division I level goes to a student athlete as a high level of academic achievement, athletic excellence in the community. It is a prestigious honor. Yep. What does that mean, one, for Michaelan, and to have somebody within your program receive something that is very hard to win?
It's one of these things that we talk about within the program, right? We don't talk about just, hey, let's be a great athlete. Let's not just talk about being a great student or just somebody who's great in the community. Let's be great in everything. Let's be great athletes. Let's be great students. Let's excel in the community. Because in my mind, all of those feed into each other. And if you are succeeding in all of those areas, it becomes self-feeding and very easy to just move forward. Like if you're struggling socially, academically, you might struggle. Or if you're academically struggling, now you might be struggling athletically. Mm-hmm. So if all those things are working together forward and elevating, you become stronger, in my mind. So these are things that we talk about all the time. Michaelan is a prime example of it, right? He is ultra successful athletically, a great student, and volunteer service-wise, I've written many recommendations for Michaelan, and his list of volunteer service is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I think it was over like 250 different outreach and volunteer services that he had done with different groups and people and committees that he organized and developed. And you couldn't ask for, like, if you could not draw it up any better. He's that guy that you just look at and say, wow, that is incredible. Mm-hmm. Incredible.
I could just see the smile on your face talking about him. He truly is unique.
He's truly unique. Like he's, you don't come across individuals like that. And in his mind, it's not a big deal. Just kind of, hey, that's just kind of what I do. That's who I am.
Yeah, and big part of building that kind of culture that we talk about, right? When you first got the head coaching job and all that, and continues obviously to have a lasting legacy here at Nebraska. But moving forward now to the track and field facilities and some of the new things that you guys have going on. I know the project's been public about how you're continuing to expand on the facilities for the outdoor track and field venue. Where's that at, and what's the excitement like for some of the new bells and whistles that you're going to have?
Oh, man. It's kind of hard to, it's, when I drive by every morning, usually I start almost driving off the road because I'm driving, into the Devaney, but I'm looking at the track to say, okay, well, that looks done over there. That looks done over there. Okay, cool. That's done over there. It's kind of like a big Christmas present that you keep looking at and thinking, okay, sooner or later it's going to be time. Now, the facility itself is pretty much done. I think they have some fire marshal codes that they have to do and some checks there. But outside of that, it's pretty much buttoned up and ready to go. So we'll, in the spring, we'll start competing at home in April, and we'll host 3 meets at home, and then we'll host the Big Ten championships.
Mm-hmm. How chaotic is that when you host a Big Ten championship or hosting some of these events? Pretty crazy, isn't it?
Big Ten-wise, I don't know. We haven't done it.
Yeah.
It will be chaotic for sure. And that's the thing, like we haven't hosted a meet here outdoors in 6 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of getting back into the routine, not only the routine of hosting outdoors, but the new facilities and what is the flow of the competition? How do you move from this part to that part? And even from the official standpoint, getting the officials back into hosting outdoor meets, because indoor meets versus outdoor meets are a little bit different. And, so, hey, there's a lot of moving parts, but that's why we host, these early meets in April to kind of test the water, get all the wrinkles and the kinks out that might be there. So we know, like, hey, when we host a Big Ten, we're going to host a Big Ten that is ran very well, smooth, efficient. And when people leave, they think, wow, they did a really good job hosting the meet.
What can we expect from the Big Ten this year, just overall in the indoor circuit?
It's competitive. That you can count on that. I think we're always going to be in a conversation of competing at the upper half of the conference. Like, my expectation is to win. I want to win. I think our staff, they want to win. Our athletes believe they can win. Track meets, there's a lot of things that go up and down. You give some, you take some, just kind of depends on the day and how things shake out. But the Big Ten, it's a very competitive conference. It's, in my mind, there's events that you might not make a final in the Big Ten, but yet you go compete at that event at the NCAA championships.
Mm-hmm.
It's that competitive.
Final thing, Coach, but what can fans expect if they come out to watch this group, indoor, outdoor? What's the expectation of what they're going to see?
You're going to see a group of athletes having a lot of fun and representing Nebraska with a lot of passion and pride. And we would love the support, so please come out, cheer us on. We want to put on a show for everybody and just say thank you, and we just want you there.
A lot of good things coming up. Devaney Indoor Track, that is going to be the Graduate Classic. That's this weekend. So that'll be Friday and Saturday as well. Make sure you go out and support the track and field team as they continue their season here in the indoor, and then you have outdoor season and so much going on. And, of course, some of the brand new facilities that are around track and field as well for the outdoor. So much going on. And, Coach, we can't thank you enough for seeing our brand new facilities
here
awesome. At the radio studio. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And hopefully we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again soon.
Love it. Justin St. Clair, Nebraska track and field head coach. We continue with more Sports Nightly after this.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear weekend, Toyota trucks are raring to go. Gearing up for fall, Tundra is all in for hauling. Campers, ATVs, Tundra's got the muscle to move it. Going off the beaten path? Tacoma says, let's do this. With handling that tackles tough trails and the backbone to take you where the pavement can't. Both trucks pack sweet tech, posh cabins, and Toyota's legendary reliability. So whether it's a fishing trip at dawn, tailgate at noon, or a remote sunset at, well, sunset, these trucks are built to make every weekend epic. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, Baxter Toyota of Lincoln, Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, or Village Point Toyota of Omaha.
Returns on the farm are under pressure, with market challenges and environmental hurdles putting every seed to the test. But you have an ace in the hole, Streamline Ag. Designed for every phase of growth and development, Streamline Ag gives your seed what it needs to thrive. From enhanced stand establishment and early emergence to essential nutrition and stress management. Streamline Ag gives your seed the power to reach its full potential. Visit us at streamline-ag.com to learn more.
Since 1975, Woodhouse has proudly served our customers and communities. From one dealership to over 21 dealerships across Nebraska and Iowa, our promise remains the same. A wide selection of vehicles, trusted service, and financing that fits your life. We believe in honest people, fair prices, and relationships built to last. Because it's not just about the road ahead, it's about traveling it together. Start your journey at woodhouse.com.
From the chant of Husker power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. Bench the other guys and team up with the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers. Go Gig Red. Visit allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
The work is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, you won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody. Another great conversation. You carried the show here tonight. Thank you.
If people are sick of my voice, I apologize for Friday. You'll get much more of Jess on Monday.
Well, glad we got your feet wet with track and field. Justin St. Clair is awesome. You can hear when you talk to him. I was telling you before the interview that he's a guy that he has expectations to win championships here with Nebraska track and field, and is one of the premier throws coaches, not just in collegiate athletics, but also in the world, some of the best. And there's U.S. Olympians train with him year in and year out. So they've always been really, really good in the field events and looking to add some more points and be strategic about that. But you could just tell, I mean, he's not doesn't get overly hyped, but he tailors the expectations. But you could tell he's excited about the additions that he's brought in and about some of the potential from some of the pretty heavy hitters that are returning for this group as well. Yeah, we talked about culture in that conversation, which is an interesting thing because it's such a the way the sport is situated, it's so fragmented. You're in groups, you're in sections, so it's hard to really build a culture. There's so many players on your roster from so many different areas of the globe. So to bring so many people together from so many different backgrounds, I think it's just interesting in that regard, in that sport. But they've already gotten their season underway in December, and they're underway today and tomorrow as well at the Devaney Indoor Track. They have all the renovations at the outdoor track for the spring season, so they're primed and ready to go, hopefully for a Big Ten championship. All right, did want to mention, or I guess hit on the tough loss for Nebraska women's basketball. Another top 25 matchup on the road at Michigan State. Boy, it was a battle. We talked about that all week. We talked about it with Coatney. These two teams have just had some battles here as of late, and it was another one there on the road. And just short, 73-71, had an opportunity at the end to maybe go win it, but couldn't get a shot off. And look, this is where this team, you got to take that step and be able to close out and win these types of games, these close games against these kinds of opponents. We've talked a lot about it since the beginning of January when you have some of these top teams and you're right there and you're going toe for toe. But you got to find a way to get over the hump and get in the win column against some of these teams.
Yeah, weren't able to limit Michigan State in the paint last night. Had 46 points in the paint. Britt Prince she had a shot from the elbow, fading away with a hand in her face. I mean, she's just a unique unicorn talent. Nothing drives me up a wall more, and I'm sure Amy Williams would say the same thing. When you have a chance, they were down 2. You can advance under a minute when you call timeout after a made bucket, and they had the ball in half court. They didn't get a shot off. They had a backdoor pass that was almost there for a layup. That got knocked out. So I think they had 1.5 seconds or so on the clock, and they couldn't get a shot off. And I'm sure Amy's was furious. I was furious watching just the ending.
Yeah, and I don't think we're speaking out of tune at all. And I didn't get a chance to listen to her postgame with Coatney, but we'll have her on the air next week here for a women's basketball hour. But she's as competitive as they get, and she expects her team to be to come out on the winning end of every single time that they step on the court. And so I know she's probably disappointed that another opportunity, especially late when you're right there, you have the lead with 90 seconds left, and you lose the lead. But Amaya Hargrove is another sophomore that's been absolutely spectacular. She had 21 points last night, was a big part of the catalyst of allowing Nebraska to be in that game there late in it. But yeah, just got to find a way to get over the hump.
You were -7 in turnovers last night. For Nebraska, it's hard to win on the road against a top 15 team when, one, the opponent takes 7 more free throws than you do, but also you had 22 turnovers. You were -7 in the turnover margin. That's tough to win on the road when you turn it over 22 times.
All right, so they will have a few days off here to prepare for their next one coming up on Wednesday, January 21st. Actually, we'll have a doubleheader that night with both men's and women's basketball teams in action. But for the women's team, 6:30 against Wisconsin. And then a week from tomorrow is the PAC PBA game, and another probably going to be top 25 matchup. Illinois coming to town, 1 o'clock inside PBA. So that is the one going to be a big push to PAC PBA and maybe break another record. So Husker Nation, the countdown is on for one of the biggest women's basketball events of the year. PAC PBA coming up on January 24th. This year, we're heating things up with a big red beach party. Watch your Huskers take on Big Ten opponent Illinois, decked out in your best tropical gear with a specialty tropical drink in hand, all inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. PAC PBA is your tropical getaway right here in Lincoln. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/PAC PBA. All right, got to get to a break. Coming up next, we'll talk some men's basketball as they hit the road again coming up tomorrow at Northwestern. Keep it here. Final segment of Sports Nightly coming up next.
At Woodhouse, it's more than just buying a car. It's about the experience. Our team is dedicated to making every visit seamless, enjoyable, and personalized to your needs. Explore a wide selection of vehicles, from SUVs and sedans to trucks and luxury models, all backed by expert guidance and exceptional service. Whether it's your first car or your next upgrade, discover why generations of drivers trust Woodhouse for a truly memorable experience. Visit us at woodhouse.com today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. And now, introducing the starting lineup of your Nebraska Huskers. Starring Allo Fiber. At number 1, Allo Internet. At number 2, no satellite dish required. DirecTV through Allo. And at number 3, Allo Mobile. Allo Fiber, the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of Husker Nation. Level up your game and go to allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
Think a bunch of IT gurus would have anything in common with a dominant college volleyball team? Hey Lincoln, I'm Ed Knott, president of Applied Connective, serving Nebraska businesses for nearly 20 years. We're proud to have a few things in common with our beloved Huskers, namely that we're also a group of hardworking and highly skilled individuals that make up one dynamic team. From our IT and cybersecurity all-stars to our phone, physical security, infrastructure, and audio-video pros, we're one team that can expertly manage all your technologies. Discover why it's a game changer to partner with us at appliedconnective.com. And as always, go Big Red.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. All right, Nebraska men's basketball back in action coming up tomorrow at Northwestern, 3 o'clock tip, 2 o'clock pregame. We'll have it for you here on the Huskers Radio Network. But top 10, look, this team, we don't need to tell you what's at stake here, but going to be favored here in these next few games. But they are just locked in, focused, and immediately when I was talking to Jamarcus Lawrence after the win the other night over Oregon, the dominating performance, he was already, look, we got to get locked in because that's going to be a tough opponent that we're going to play on Saturday. And they're going to get everybody's best. The crowd's going to be fired up for them, I got to imagine. So no easy days off. They know that they've got to get locked in for every single team that they face.
They passed the test the other day when Oregon, they were an 11.5-point favorite at home. Can you put your foot on the gas pedal? We said that on the show leading up to the game. They did just that. They won going away. This is one of those tricky games, right? A good Northwestern team. They're coming off an 11-point loss against Illinois, but it's always tough on the road in conference play. Again, can you get off to a fast start? You're the much better team on paper. Can you go out and prove it? Which this team, every single time that you've had any sort of questions, continues to go out and prove it. And Joe Lenardi of ESPN put out his bracketology. Josh was telling me before, they're up to a 2 seed, and that's probably one of the top bracketologies that is out there. Some Fox has them as a 1 seed, but right now they're probably sitting on that 2 seed line if I had to guess.
Look, they have this motto, respect all, fear none. And so even though whatever the matchup might look like, whether it's at Michigan where they're not going to be the favorite or whether you're going on the road and going to be the favorite at some of these teams now that they've caught a lot of attention, they know that, look, it's the Big Ten, and as dominant as they were against Oregon, which it was great to see. You were supposed to maybe not win by 30, but certainly supposed to handle a team like that. But you got to continue to do that and stack up these wins, especially on the road, and protect the home floor. But as you get it plays a huge factor. You want to stay off that 8-9 line. The 7-10 seed is always, and we're a ways away from that. But the more you can add to that resume here, the better that seeding gets.
Yeah, the pressure grows as you get closer to March Madness about getting that first tournament win, because the thought of the fan base is, if not this year, then when, right? And they have all the pieces. They have the guard play. They have the guys in the front court. It feels like there's a little bit more of a confidence in some of the guys that are coming off the bench in terms of the depth. Price Sanford, Braden Frager are playing some of the best basketball in their career, especially for Braden, who's a young player. So everything is set up for you to continue to do what you're doing. And the mindset that you have, led by Fred Hoiberg, they are not going to let this team look past Northwestern.
All right, again, 3 o'clock tip at Northwestern, 2 o'clock pregame with Kent Pavelka and Jeff Smith. We'll have it for you here on the Huskers Radio Network. All right, coming up on Monday, we'll have our Nebraska Men's Basketball Hour. We're also going to chat with DB, as Damon Benning, we haven't had a chance to chat with him throughout all this portal craziness. We might have some more news to talk about, but we'll have him on the show as well on Monday. So big 2 hours coming up for you here after the weekend. Thanks to Josh Hilkelman for helping us out here tonight. For Kyle Crooks, I'm Jessica Coody. Have a great weekend, Husker Nation.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Since 1975, Woodhouse has proudly served our customers and communities. From one dealership to over 21 dealerships across Nebraska and Iowa, our promise remains the same. A wide selection of vehicles, trusted service, and financing that fits your life. We believe in honest people, fair prices, and relationships built to last. Because it's not just about the road ahead, it's about traveling it together. Start your journey at woodhouse.com.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org